Isn't it true that you killed your parents because you couldn't stand your father's control anymore, and you couldn't figure out any other way to kill him except to kill your mother too, like Dr. Oziel said?
No, that's not true.
When you put the shotgun up against her left cheek and you pulled the trigger, did you love your mother?
Yes.
And was that an act of love, Mr. Menendez?
It was confusion and fear.
Did you kill your father to get back at him for what you say he did to you when you were a child, sexually?
No, I killed him because we were afraid and because what was going on that weekend.
That letter makes you look like a very caring individual, doesn't it?
I am.
Were you very caring when you put the gun to the back of your father's head?
I was freaked out and afraid and confused.
Now, is there anything I can ask you or say to you that's going to get you to say that those allegations are untrue?
They are true.
Okay, so there's nothing I can say to you to get you to say that they're not true, right?
No.
Okay. And the two people who could come in and say that they're not true, you killed, right?
Well, they wouldn't say they weren't true, but then again, I don't really know what they would say.
Well, because they're not here to deny them, are they?
No.
How would you characterize your second semester at Princeton? Would you say that it was kind of a failure? And I would take it that it's fair to say your parents weren't proud of your second semester at Princeton University.
No. And I had never done that. I didn't confront my father easily at all.
But when you had a gun, you confronted him just fine, didn't you? You almost got away with it, didn't you?
You know, you characterize it that way, and you think it's funny, but my brother and my life was very miserable for 6 months before we got arrested, and obviously wasn't better after we got arrested, and isn't good now, and it never really has been great. You know, in some ways, getting arrested for my brother in some ways was a relief, and the changes that have happened are a relief. And I don't know what's going to happen at the end of this case, and we may go off to prison very likely, but you know, some good things have come from it. I wasn't thinking anything. I wasn't thinking I might have money so I could pay for them. I wouldn't. I just charged them.
So you just went in and you just charged them?
Right.
The same way you just went in and shot your parents? You weren't thinking?
No, that's very different.
You learned to lie as a child, didn't you?
I would say I did.
And so it's your testimony then that during the course of this cross-examination, you're not going to lie, right?
I haven't lied here, and I've tried, and I've said a lot of things that I wish I didn't have to say.
Would you lie for your brother?
I don't have to lie here for him.
But you did in the past, didn't you?
I would lie for him.
Right. Now, who else did you lie to about this? Did you lie to your family about it?
For a long time.
Why is it that you continued to lie about your involvement in the crime? Was it because you didn't want to get caught?
I didn't want to go to jail. Well, I didn't want my brother to go either.
But you did get caught and you went to jail, right?
Right.
And you would like to get out, wouldn't you?
Yes, very much.
Okay. And so now you're telling the truth?
Yes.
Now, when you were growing up, your father taught you to be the master of your emotions, didn't he?
He tried to do that.
During the period of time you were growing up in this household, that you learned to mask your emotions.
Well, I didn't do it like he wanted me to, and that was the problem. That's why I had to go through the trouble of memorizing these things, and because that was my flaw, that I seemed to cry even when a man wasn't supposed to. And so essentially it was happening because I was having problems with that.
Now, you cried in the courtroom here in front of the juries, too, correct?
Right.
And that was genuine emotion?
Yes.
You wanted to get away with it, right?
We really weren't thinking in those terms, and we weren't thinking in terms of... We were just basically thinking that we'd shot our parents, and that this was horrible, and that if, you know, I just couldn't tell the police that, and that I did not want to then have to tell them why and explain everything about my family. And neither of us did.
During the trip, you were talking about killing your parents the next day, weren't you?
No.
And that's why you and your brother were up separated from your parents. You didn't want them to hear what you were talking about.
No.
You said your life was a lot better than your brother's, correct? You just said
yes,
that.
Yes, definitely.
So you didn't want to sacrifice your life to help your brother, did you?
we're in a position where we don't feel we have a choice, and I have very mixed emotions about the things that I've said here in front of people, and I know it's going to hurt people that I love.
But you did it anyway because you want to be acquitted, right? You hurt the people you loved. You said the things you said because you want to be acquitted.
I would like to go home, and I would like my brother to go home, and I have mixed emotions about it. And we had discussions about that, and there was a time when I wasn't sure that it was worth it. And, you know, my brother is involved, and I just felt we had to do it.
Were you going to spend the rest of your life until the day your parents died doing what they wanted? Was that your plan?